yourself at the moment?
On reflection, were you pretty happy with the way Joseph put Solomon away?
You know, I sort of thought we'd get 3 or 4 rounds out of him. You know, he obviously came very well prepared. He had lost 5 kilograms since his previous fight. You know, I don't want to repeat myself, but you heard me say he got himself with a good trainer. They had a reasonable game plan, and one thing I knew about Justin Fortune, he'd have him fit. And he was able to withstand a bunch of punches in the first couple of rounds that I thought, you know, 6-8 months ago he would have gone down from. So I think fitness played a big part in that. I was a little disappointed that Joe once again was late going to the body. He didn't really hit him hard to the body till the 3rd round. And the whole training camp had been, we start from round 1, breaking this guy down, taking his legs away, slowing his punches down, taking the power out of the punches by going to the body. And Joe hits very, very well to the body. So that's something that's, you know, he's done that a couple of times. As you probably remember me saying in the Tacken fight, he was late going to the body there, which I think would have made a much easier fight for us if he had gone to the body from the first round. And the same thing here. Now fighting a 6'7" guy, you know, we need to reduce that height. We need to slow him down. We need to take a bit of wind out of his sails, and the way to do that is to break him down to the body. A guy who's 6'7" has a large body area to defend, so it's going to be very important, you know, that Joe goes to the body in a very instrumental, calculated way in this fight.
How much have you seen of this guy, Alexander? Were you looking at him some time ago? Yeah,
I've been watching tapes for a while. You know, I've watched quite a few of his fights. You know, he's a big, skillful guy. You know, he's got a, like, you don't get to 38-2 without being able to fight. But you know, the main challenge for us, not only is he a skillful fighter with good tools and with tremendous pedigree, the fact that he was a world youth champion, that when you add the height factor in there, that's what we need. That's what we're looking for at the moment. You know, we need to put Joe up against some big men. There are big guys at the top of the heavyweight division. Klitschko's still there. You know, we know. Like, he's 6'6.5", but I mean, when you stand beside him, he's 6'10". You know, you'd think that Joe at 6'4.5" and Klitschko at 6'6.5". Okay, there's 2 inches. You think, okay, he's just here, but it's not like that at all. It's very, very imposing. That 2 inches is huge. So when I'm looking at this guy, we're talking 5 inches. But these are the guys, you know, when you look at Tyson Fury, you look at Klitschko, you look at Joshua, these guys are all tall. Okay, these are the guys that we're targeting. These are the guys who hold the titles. These are the guys that dictate all the big purses in world heavyweight boxing. So we need to go after them.
Kevin, when you look at Alexander's record, you talk about breaking him down and what you've got to do, but do you think Joe's also a completely different prospect to anything that he's faced before as well?
You know, possibly. Pulev's a pretty experienced guy, pretty decent fighter. When Eddie Chambers beat him, you know, Chambers was a very decent fighter at that particular stage. You know, I believe Joe's as good as both of them.
But just in terms of the style that Joe will bring?
Well, you know, Joe has his own unique style for the simple fact that, you know, I believe he has the fastest hands in the heavyweight division. He also has the best selection of punches out of any heavyweight, including all of them. I don't think there's anyone that throws the variety of combinations, you know, to the head, to the body, the 45s, the uppercuts, the liver shot, the overhand right, the straight right, that Joe throws.
Can you elaborate further just on the training partners that you mentioned
before?
before?
No names.
Yeah.
I've never looked, you know, you've never once, other than the fact, you know, I remember when we worked with Permain Severn a couple of years ago, We did some publicity on the fact because he was a world champion. I never ever divulged my sparring partners, and it's something that I never will.
Yeah. And this fight, is it still sort of the expectation that it will be the last before Joshua? Have you got any sort of...
No, I tell you what, all we know is that Joshua was talking to other camps at the moment. He's definitely not talking to us. I think the fact that we're making this fight on October 1, there's a pretty fair assumption that we're not fighting Joshua in November. They have until November 9 to start negotiations. Right.
It's got to be completed by December.
Yeah. So, and that's when it will happen. We'll focus on this fight, and after this fight, there's every indication that everything going well, that we will fight another tall guy later in the year.
Kevin, has there been an update at all on the protest that Haumono launched last week?
Well, if there has been, I haven't heard it. I thought it was laughable. I thought we saved him an embarrassing knockout loss and possibly damaging to his health. I thought it was a little tongue-in-cheek that they could even appeal that. Don't forget, there was a minute and a half left in the fourth round, and one thing we know about Joseph Parker, when he has a guy hurt, he's a very, very good finisher. Joe's not going to dance around for 90 seconds. That fight wouldn't have gone 10 more seconds.
So you don't expect much to come out of it?
I don't think anything's coming out of it. The photos that we've seen, the excellent photos that Photosport took of the fight, we're looking at Sullivan's eyes, we're only looking one way at the floor from every single angle. From when he was down on one knee to when he stood up and was on both feet, his eyes are looking at the floor. One thing you learn in boxing, and you're told over and over again by the referee, is if you want to continue, you've got to show me that you're ready to continue. If you're down on one knee and trying to pace yourself and clear your head, how you show the referee that you're ready to continue is by looking into his eyes, not by looking at the floor. That doesn't help the referee at all, give him confidence that you're ready to continue.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks,
All right.